Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So OCG Metagame Breakdown for, well, half of December, but actually January. As you know, the OCG recently got their new ban list. It's going into effect January 1st, 2023. So that's like in a couple of days. And there were some tournaments already past, let me double check, yep, past weekend, under the new OCG Forbidden and Limited list. And that again might be important for us to see how, you know, decks like Kashtira, pure Kashtira that is, and Tearlament would recover from their huge ban list. Again, you know, to refresh our memories, because it has been a while, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, that the OCG announced their new and, you know, Forbidden and Limited list, and I highlighted the most important cards, I guess. But if you remember the Tearlament and Kashtira, both these decks, they got kinda slaughtered on their new ban list, with Kid Kalos being banned. Side note, with the Wind Barrier statue also got banned, but other than that, again, looking at Kashtira and Tearlament, Fenrir 2-1, Unicorn 2-1, Sharon 2-1, Reinohard 2-1, and of course the Bestial Engine also got hit with 1 Magnamut, and the Prime Planet being the field spell for Kashtira, and of course Brandon Fusion also you know, limited. There is a branded deck in a couple of moments, but that's kind of big. So let's see if Tearlament and Kashtira, which again, we are getting that soon in the TCG, is able to recover from that. So again, the Road of the King, all the sources will be in the video description. Some new card releases, and the OCG also got their new Sky Striker support. Azalea, it's a new link too, that it's kinda easy to make, and you will see it in the first deck list why it's there. The first decklist that's being discussed here is Tropic Spright, and I was about to say that we have seen in the TCG at least this deck slash lists, because I guess without Maxi you could like pick this deck and put it in the TCG. We have seen Sprite's Tropic Spright in the TCG when Power of the Elements was just released, and people are looking, you know, what's the best Sprite variant, and I believe Spright Tropic actually got some tops. I believe a Nationals win here in Spain, I think, as well, but it never popped off after this. But that's what Road of the King also mentioned, simply because the other, you know, bigger decks, better decks were hit, I feel, and seeing that from the conclusions as well, Tri-Brigade Spright is currently the most or the more represent deck in top cuts and tournaments, simply because, I mean, both hybrids are superb, and let's not forget, Spright is still, you know, super hindered in the OCG with, what is it, one Jet and 1 starter, I think. Yeah, and Toad is banned, yups. So yeah, other than that, I mean, you know, both decks synergize really well, Kit being level 2, Karaz being level 2, and, you know, Sprint sending something like Kit to the graveyard to potentially get a Surge, and, I mean, Gigantic Sprite special summoning a level 2 from the deck, but again, keep in mind, you know, you can't go for Appaloosa after that, but, you know, the synergy is there. We've seen this in the TCG. And yeah, I mean, you can kind of dodge your potential Gigantic Spright restriction with Masquerena, right? Just put up Masquerena and then during your opponent's turn go for Appaloosa. But the Link 2 are still strong. And of course, and that's something I personally overlooked, is Beaver is a beast as well. Ah, yes, that's nice. But yeah, other than that, nothing too spectacular. The second list is Labyrinth, and I think we all remember when Labyrinth got released, same with Runic, right? And Labyrinth currently is kind of popular on Master Duel as well, but it kind of struggled against, you know, the better decks, the meta decks, but simply because now the big meta decks are hit, I guess, you know, somewhat of a stun deck being Labyrinth, it's something that can actually pop off. And the build featured here went 6-1-1 in the tournament with 141 participants, so that's kind of good. It's very similar to the list that I was using on Master Duel as well. He's going super heavy on the boss monsters, as you see, and he's also playing, and I kind of like that, both copies of the Ariadne and Ariana, you know, the starter cards I feel from the deck, but he's lowering indeed the amount of, you know, the level 3, the green one, the yellow one. I guess super reliant on traps, with of course Dogmatica being there as well. So he's also running the DDDs in the extra deck, simply because I guess they're just beatstick rank 4 beatsticks, the Caesars, right? And of course, I guess it also locks you, what is it, into Fiend types? And, you know, those are Fiends. Excite-a-Knight should be in there as well, as the player mentions here in the article. So next up we have, I guess, can I call it pure Spright? Yeah, maybe. And there is where the new Sky Striker comes into play. As you know, the Sky Striker got a new link too. What is it? You can make it with light and dark monsters, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the most important effect is that it's being used to, when it's like summoned, you can pop a card on your field. And the second card here from the top left is Side. So it's basically another Side thought deck. Because again, you can go for, you know, something like Masquerina tag out during your opponent's turn, going for the Sky Striker link, pop your stuff, pop your side, and put your opponent under side lock. Again, that's not something new, it's just an extra tool that other decks, non-Sky Striker decks, can use to pop side during your opponent's turn, right? So that's a thing. Other than that, let's say if you're playing against stun decks, of course, the side combo is not strong against that. You can still Masquerina upgrade for 0 Boros or Avramex or something like that. So again, those strategies we've seen in the TCG as well. Other than that, anything spectacular? Cyberstein, again, nothing too new, simply because, you know, Sprint can send it to the graveyard, Elf can reborn it, so you can still use Stein's effect to, here in this case, special summon Exterio from the extra deck. And Tearlament, it's being featured on Road of the King, this particular build from the same tournament, big tournament of 141 players, went X2, so 6-2, ended up top 8 still. So even with the ban list, the deck is still there. It feels like Burning Abyss all over again, but you see the deck is super hindered, one Sharon, one Reinhardt, Kid Kalos being banned, but you now see the King of the Swan being added back to the main deck, simply to, you know, replenish or replay, you know, to potentially go for Kid Kalos, not Kid Kalos, but, you know, use it as a substitute, right? That was the word I was looking for, to potentially go for, I mean, bigger fusions plus, and I kind of dig that now. More Shaddolls, again, double beast, one Squamata in the main deck. I mean, Winda is still there, something like Sprite, etc. They special summon a lot still, Tri-Brigade stuff. So Winda is still very strong. Floodgate, plus the Dark World fusion is there as well. Triple Maxi, more traps going heavy on that, plus the Ishizu core is still there. It's somewhat weakened as we've seen on their previous Forbidden and Limited list, but the deck is still there. Definitely don't count this out just yet, even after a couple of, you know, ban lists. Okay, so that's it for Road of the King. So stuff like Drawn on Lockbird might see, you know, more play. And there's one deck that he mentions on this article, but it's not featured. But I have some extra lists here, so let's take a look. More of that soon. We have here on the left side Prankets. Adventure actually got more tools back from the Forbidden and Limited list for January 1st, but we haven't seen it. This Adventure, you know, lost its favor. But I mean, it's still Prankets, it's still strong, but do they still have, yeah, Meow Meow is at 1, I think, otherwise you would probably main deck more. But it's still there, it's still strong. While right side we still see Kashtira, one Fenrir, one Unicorn, the engine I guess is still intact. You're running, at least this player opted to run the Pathfinder to surge the field spell, right? I mean, they still have their 2 power spells, the Hero Lifts and the Monster Reborn, so they are still very strong. Intriguing how that deck is going to develop under their new format. Naturia on the left side, again, no surprises I think, other than a small weakened Ishizu package, while on the right side we see a Dragonlink, Boral and Dot deck, right? Again, very similar on Master Duel, with a small Bestial package, and that's I think the only deck I've seen with the Bestials. Again, Magnamut being at 1. Left side we see Runic Sprite, again very similar to us TCG decks before the Ishizu stuff, and Lava Golem and Ras Vermoid in the side deck, so not the main deck, because again Maxi is live. And right side, that was the deck I was talking about a couple of moments ago, but as you know, Sprite Gishki is strong. Gishki got more support a level 9, you know, ritual monster that, what is it, can negate monster effect. So it's basically something to put up early on board to prevent your opponent from going for Nibiru, or at least negate the Nibiru and then bounce back, I think, a Gishki. So just bounce itself back, right? Plus they got like one card combos. I have a video from that up from a couple of like months ago, I think. But it's a superb deck. It's a strong deck, kind of weak to Maxi, so that might be the reason why it's not popping off just yet. But keep an eye out for Gishki Spright. And then last, left side, yeah, Despias, but again, Brandon Fusion was put to 1 on their upcoming list. We might follow here in the TCG, while again on the right side we see a Drangling 60 card deck for Drangling with that new Bestial card as well we are getting in the TCG. So intriguing. Again, their format seems to be wide open, so let's see how it's going to develop. Is, I guess, Spright with Tribegate going to, you know, pull through, or might we see other decks coming through as well? Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Riddim signing out. Peace.